Hey, what's up guys? This is Jaime Gutierrez from GTZ Capital, and today I'm going to be going over two stocks that have the potential to double your money. We're going to start right off the bat with NIO. First thing to explain, this is a video for beginners, so if you are a trader that is already very experienced in the market, then this video is not for you. I'm going to be explaining the core and the basics of trading from the beginning as if you did not have any previous experience. So the market moves in 4 different stages. Stage 1, which is accumulation. Stage 2, which is uptrend. Stage 3, which is distribution. And stage 4, which is a downtrend. So our job is to identify at what stage of the market cycle each stock is and try to execute on the breakouts or on the beginning of an uptrend, and then exit at the point where the downtrend begins. So this will maximize our gains, and I'm going to explain to you very simply how we can find these patterns in a chart. First thing you want to do is go to stockcharts.com and search NIO. This is the result you get. I'm showing a blank chart for now. And if you just look at this chart, the black and the red lines indicate one day in time. So these lines, all they do is follow price. And there's no way of telling at what stage this is just by looking at this. But if we use technical indicators, they give us a little bit more of a sense of at what stage this chart is at this particular time. So the indicators we want to use is first scroll down to overlays and pick a simple moving average. Set the parameters at 20. Update that. Now scroll down to indicators and search MACD. Update that and your chart should look something like this. The blue line you see coming across price is your 20-day moving average, and the little box you see at the bottom with the red and the black lines, that's going to be your MACD. Now how do we use these? It's pretty simple. Anytime price, so the black and the red lines, go above the blue line, so anytime you see them cross and close above the blue line, that will indicate to us that an uptrend has started. So there's no more side action, and now it's the beginning of an uptrend. Now, how do we confirm that? And that's where MACD comes in. MACD is going to be the black line crossing over or below the red line. So if we're looking for an uptrend, we want the MACD line, the black line, to be above the red. At the same time, that price closes above the blue line, which is a 20-day moving average. Now let's see how price reacts to these two indicators historically. If we come down to October, we can see that price comes down to test the 20-day moving average, but it doesn't quite break below. And you see that the MACD also tries to cross over to the downside, meaning that the black line attempted to go below the red, but was not capable. The moment you see a spike in that, along with a spike in price, we realize that an uptrend has now started. And you pretty much can just trade that every single time, and it is a very successful technique. That's very simply put. I'm not going to go into explaining exactly what each indicator does. And of course, this isn't the only strategy you want to use, but it gives you some sort of perspective into what the markets might be doing. Now, NIO does have an event coming up next week. If you don't know what a catalyst is, it's basically a big event that will kind of boost your stock and give it some positive momentum to confirm the move. So as you can see, this past week, NIO finally closed above the 20-day moving average with a crossover on MACD. And the event is only 1 week away. So that is huge hype. It gives us a full buy signal pretty much, because not only are indicators in place, but so are the news in our favor. So odds are that we see a big move coming from NIO in the coming days. Right now, I already made some money and gains off NIO closing above the 20. I use calls, which I'm not going to get into, but they help double my money, and I'm still holding them with a target of 55 short term, which is our previous resistance. So as you can see on this chart, NIO historically has had trouble in this like 42 to 55 range. So that's the area where I'll be looking to take my profits and maybe let a few run if we see big momentum leading into the event. But my target for selling NIO will be 55, which is a point where a lot of sellers like to step in and take their profits, and so will I. All right, guys, so the second stock that has the potential to double your money is Tattooed Chef. Now, this is an investment, not a trade. With Neo, we talked about options and a short-term trade. With Tattooed Chef, this is an investment, meaning that we do see a lot of value in the long term. We believe that it is undervalued at the moment, and it has a lot of potential for growth. We have previously traded it from $12 to $24, doubling our money, meaning that if you had $100, you exit it with $200, and if you had $1,000, you exit it with $2,000 at the end of that trade. Right now, it's currently trading at $22.89, but we believe that this has the potential to even 5x in the long term. But in the very slightest, I can see this hitting 44 by the end of 2021. Now, let me give you a few reasons why I think that this is a good investment in the long term. Starting off, I believe that vegan markets are only growing and people are slowly shifting into healthier options, whether that be exercising more or finding healthier alternatives for their food and diet. So Tattooed Chef has a lot of potential here because of the growing industry. A lot of people are shifting away from fast food, and although we do see all these companies like McDonald's and any other fast food chain company grow, they're not growing at the same rate at which they were growing 5 or even 10 years ago. So we're going to see a little bit of that shift going into different markets, and I believe the vegan meat market will be one of them. By 2030, the vegan meat market should be at 85 billion, which is massive. Let me get a little bit into Tattooed Chef's numbers and explain a little bit of the things that I saw based on the numbers that I looked up, and explain to you as to why I think it is undervalued and where do I think it has a potential to go up to. Starting off last year, Tattooed Chef had 640% year-on-year growth, which is massive. And they did all of this with no marketing. So they didn't spend a single cent on marketing or trying to grow their brand, meaning that they have a very good product and they don't really have to focus on expanding their marketing. They just already are a profitable company. By 2021, they are expected to go up to 300 million in revenues, which I think is pretty conservative. And in the long term, perhaps it should be at 500 million. Projection for 2023 should be around 500 million. By the end of 2021, 300 million. Now, what does that mean? It means that if you trade this with a price to share multiple of 15, which beyond their direct competitor is at 20, this should sit Tattooed Chef at about 7.5 billion market cap, turning their share price to at least $100 by 2023. So I think long term, this should see around maybe $120 price target by 2023, but at the very least, we should see this double to around $44 by the end of next year. A few other things within Tattooed Chef growth is that we do see that their projections for next year are to expand from 23,000 to 65,000 points of distribution and from 4,200 stores to 10,000 stores by the end of 2021. So we will see a big exposure. We will see a lot of exposure of Tattooed Chef in a lot of different stores, and you're going to start seeing it at your local markets and other places. Yeah, very exciting and a lot of growth potential there. Like we were saying, projected by 2023, that's a 7.5 billion market cap compared to Beyond, which is already at 8. And if you were to try to double your money with Beyond, which is the leading competitor in this market, you would need Beyond to go from 8 billion to 16 billion market cap, which is a lot of ground to cover compared to Tattooed Chef's 1.5 billion current market cap. In order to double your money, all you need is I believe that is being very conservative. So there's a lot of good factors and a lot of good things that we see in Tattooed Chef's financials and in the growing industry as a whole. And this is why I'm very bullish on this as a long-term investment. So those are two different strategies I like. I do a lot more short-term trading and swings like you saw in Neo and using technical analysis. But in long-term portfolio and long-term trading, I like taking the approach of fundamental analysis, which is a little bit more like the Tattooed Chef play. So these are two different ways to double your money, very different time horizons and strategies, but based on your risk profile and how much you're willing to risk and just pretty much your trading style, you could take either approach and still double your money. You know, I'm not encouraging anybody to do this right off the bat or follow my lead by any means. I'm just showing you a couple of the trades that I like and that I have traded in the past and that I consider to still be good opportunities with potential for a lot of growth. You know, this is not financial advice. I'm just trying to give you guys a little bit of perspective as to how to trade and basically make any people who are new to the market and maybe feel a little bit intimidated to just make some sense of what is going on and how to recognize a good opportunity and capitalize on it. All right guys, and that's gonna be it for the video. Those were two very simple ways to double your money in the stock market. With Neo, we went over some technical analysis, and with Tattooed Chef, we covered fundamental analysis. Again, these are just two ways that I've personally made money in the market. This is just for educational purposes. But if you have any more questions about the trades I went into and the logic behind them, or if you want a little bit more of a breakdown, feel free to DM us on Instagram at GTZ Capital, or join our Discord, in which we have daily stock discussions and daily call outs as well. So that's gonna be it for my time. Hope to hear from you guys soon. Later.